I don't need your business. Thanks.
What would you say to those who are just kind of overly critiquing the film at this point? You've worked so hard on it.
Hold on.
All right.
What an idiot I've been as a young person in this industry who has no filter and no idea what she's doing.
To address the elephant in the room. I'm the hottest person in the world.
It's kind of sinking in more and more that tomorrow is happening and the trailer is coming out.
But it's hard. And it's lonely. It's very lonely.
A co-star reportedly stormed off set, and once again, all eyes are on Rachel Zegler.
Studios really need to go back to what they originally did, which was tell your stars to shut up and not say things, because no one is paying to hear your star say offensive things off the screen.
The indie film She Gets It From Me, which was supposed to mark a humble rebound from the Snow White catastrophe, is now being consumed by the same drama Zegler seems to drag with her everywhere. According to multiple sources close to production, tensions exploded so badly during a recent shoot that a key actor allegedly walked off set mid-scene, refusing to return until the situation was handled.
I don't want people to see me as ungrateful or anything like that. I was nervous that that's what this makes me look like.
And insiders are pointing to one name as the spark behind the chaos, Rachel Zegler. This was supposed to be her quiet redemption, a stripped-down, character-driven indie with Marisa Tomei, a golden opportunity to show she could be collaborative, professional, and grounded. But before the film can even finish shooting, the warning signs are flashing red.
Lots of people to thank for this video. There's two of me. Double the trouble, am I right?
From scheduling nightmares to creative clashes, reports say the set has become so strained that even the crew is struggling to keep things on track. The mood, tense, the schedule, slipping. And the root of the problem, if you ask those on the inside, is Zegler's ego, once again overshadowing the work. What's truly baffling is how fast this all fell apart.
I don't want people to see me in a weakened state.
The film was billed as a drama with heart, a redemption story not just on screen but off. But as one insider put it, you can only do damage control for so long when the lead won't stay in her lane. Zegler's alleged habit of pushing for script changes, overriding directorial notes, and turning every press moment into a personal platform is reportedly back in full force.
What's Snow White's plan?
Everything will be great once we just act exactly like men.
And that's why people are so annoyed. Talk about biting the hand that feeds you.
And this time, there's no Disney-sized PR team to sweep it under the rug. With co-stars walking out and production behind schedule, this isn't just another bump in the road, it's the beginning of what could be Zegler's final undoing. What's shocking isn't just the walkout, it's how quickly the situation deteriorated despite the studio's best efforts to keep things drama-free. According to industry insiders, She Gets It From Me was designed to be a soft reboot for Zegler's career. A smaller film, less press, a simple narrative about a mother and daughter, anchored by the always solid Marisa Tomei. But instead of quietly proving her range and humility, Zegler has allegedly turned this intimate project into yet another behind-the-scenes minefield.
It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful.
That golden goose is belly up.
Sources say the first few weeks of filming were already tense, but things truly began spiraling when Zegler clashed with the creative team over her character's arc. Some insiders claim Zegler came into the project with the expectation that this would be her show, that despite Tomei being the lead, she would be the emotional centerpiece of the film. She allegedly began pushing for last-minute rewrites that would expand her screen time and give her character more complexity, essentially trying to wrest control of the story's focus. But this isn't a star vehicle, and according to one crew member, it's like she never got the memo. What's worse, there are whispers that this creative overreach began affecting shooting days.
I am not asking. I am demanding.
So she comes off as an insufferable, whiny brat.
Scenes had to be reshuffled, lighting setups redone, and crew members left waiting as impromptu script debates dragged on for hours. For a modestly budgeted indie film, time is money, and they're already losing both. We can't afford diva delays. One production assistant allegedly quipped off the record. And yet that's exactly what they're getting. Let's not forget, this isn't the first time Zegler has disrupted a project. Her Snow White press tour was a masterclass in how to alienate fans, studio heads, and journalists all at once. That film became a cautionary tale of what happens when an actor forgets they're part of something bigger than themselves. And now it looks like she's bringing the same combustible energy to yet another production. The only difference? This time, the collateral damage may be even worse.
I don't know if that mirror was broken, but that has to be one hell of an acting job by Gal Gadot. She looks into the mirror and she says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the fairest of them all?" And then they show her a picture of Rachel Zegler, and somehow she has to not burst out laughing.
Now let's talk about what this walk-off really means. Because in Hollywood, moments like this don't just fade away, they get noticed, fast. especially when the production is already under a microscope thanks to Rachel Zegler's baggage. Insiders are saying that the actor who left was not just some glorified extra. This was someone who had multiple scenes with Zegler and, according to early drafts, was meant to have a pivotal role in her character's arc, which makes the decision to walk even more damning. If you're giving up a significant role in a film that could hit the festival circuit purely because of someone's attitude, that's not petty, that's survival. And here's where it gets even messier. Sources claim the studio is now scrambling to rework the actor's scenes or recast entirely.
People have real problems and no one gives a shit if she got paid for 17 instead of 18 on her multi-million-dollar salary, which is not calculated by the hour.
Which could mean additional reshoots, extended delays, and of course, more money thrown into the fire. Not exactly what you want to hear when you're working with an indie budget, but what choice do they have? Once someone walks off a project in protest, the situation becomes radioactive. Everyone, investors, PR teams, even distributors, starts wondering what else is bubbling beneath the surface. And with Rachel Zegler at the center of the storm again, it's not hard to connect the dots. Let's be real, this wasn't just a one-off tantrum. This is part of a pattern that's followed Zegler from set to set. First, there were the whispers from Spielberg's camp during West Side Story. Then came the absolute implosion of Snow White, where even Disney insiders allegedly distanced themselves from her mid-campaign. And now, we're seeing the same cycle play out with She Gets It From Me. Different set, same tension, same ego, same slow burn implosion. The fact that someone reportedly chose to leave the production entirely rather than continue working with her says everything about how toxic the environment has become. And as word spreads across the industry, as it always does, Zegler's name won't be attached to Rising Star anymore. It'll be attached to liability, and in an industry that thrives on collaboration, that's the kiss of death.
I am walking into Snow White, 2 p.m., now seating. Let's see how empty it is.
And here's where the ripple effect starts turning into a tsunami. The actor walking off set might be the most dramatic moment so far, but it's not the only sign that this production is cracking at the seams. According to new leaks from inside the crew, morale is plummeting, fast. There's talk of passive-aggressive standoffs, long silences during breaks, and crew members openly expressing frustration with the vibe on set. And guess whose name keeps coming up as the root of all that tension? You already know. The whispers, which aren't even whispers anymore, paint a picture of a set that feels like it's walking on eggshells around Zegler. She reportedly questions direction constantly, wants rewrites mid-shoot, and allegedly undermines the creative flow with unsolicited suggestions that feel less collaborative and more controlling. One source even described it like this: she acts like she's directing the whole thing, not just playing one role. And the worst part? Nobody wants to push back because they're scared of another PR nightmare. That's the kind of environment that kills creative momentum. Instead of actors focusing on building chemistry, they're worrying about who's going to set off the next firestorm. Instead of the crew solving production problems, they're tiptoeing around a lead who thinks the set revolves around her. And when that kind of dysfunction becomes routine, it doesn't just slow things down, it sinks the entire ship. What makes this even more ironic is that She Gets It From Me was supposed to be the safe choice, a smaller, quieter project, the kind of film that lives or dies by the strength of its performances and emotional authenticity. But how can you build something honest and heartfelt when the lead actress is allegedly turning every scene into a power play? How do you foster real connection on screen when behind it, people are barely speaking? The production now finds itself in a holding pattern. No one's walking on set with excitement, they're showing up with dread. And with one cast member already gone, the question becomes, who's next? How long before another shoe drops? And this film becomes another cautionary tale of what happens when you cast controversy in the lead role.
This clip is already 9 minutes long on my phone, and I bet you learned nothing.
At this point, it's hard not to wonder, how did anyone think this was going to go smoothly? Rachel Zegler didn't exactly walk into She Gets It From Me with a clean slate. Her baggage was practically checked in advance, pre-labeled and overflowing. So why did the studio, the director, and frankly anyone on the producing side think this would be the project to turn it all around? It's a mystery, or maybe it's just a bad gamble, one that's already looking like it's going to cost far more than anyone bargained for. Industry insiders are starting to say what everyone else has been thinking. This wasn't about talent, it was about headlines. The same way a tabloid cover sells because of the chaos plastered across it, this casting choice had all the markings of shock value over sound judgment. Pairing Zegler, fresh off the most divisive PR tour of the decade, with an award-winning powerhouse like Marisa Tomei, might have seemed like an edgy juxtaposition, but what it's really doing is highlighting the canyon between professionalism and performative chaos. There's also growing chatter that director Julia von Heinz is quietly frustrated. She reportedly envisioned this film as a nuanced exploration of intergenerational relationships, grounded in raw performances and emotional truth. But sources claim she's now spending more time navigating personality clashes and smoothing over drama than actually executing her creative vision. And for a director known for her artistic integrity, that's a nightmare. Because let's face it, if a film about a rebellious mother and complicated daughter relationship starts falling apart because the actress playing the daughter can't stop stirring the pot behind the scenes, that's just tragic symmetry. Some crew members have even floated the idea that Zegler's involvement is actively changing the tone of the film. What was once a subtle character study is allegedly shifting into something louder, messier, and more chaotic, mirroring the drama playing out off camera. That's not artistic evolution, that's derailment. And while Zegler may think she's pushing the project to new creative heights, those around her are reportedly seeing something else entirely.
So I've got my Baymax blanket, which I use when I have anxiety.
A production losing grip, a story getting drowned in ego, and a film that's quickly becoming defined by everything except the work. What's even more damning is how quickly the energy around this film has shifted, and not in a good way. What began as a promising indie comeback for Zegler is now being spoken about in hushed tones across industry forums and Twitter threads. The hype has turned to hesitance, the optimism to awkward silence. And the most telling sign? Public sentiment isn't even divided, it's leaning hard in one direction: doubt. People aren't asking, will the movie be good? They're asking, how bad will it get before it even premieres? Even neutral film journalists are tiptoeing in their coverage. Headlines are getting more cautious. Phrases like ambitious collaboration and early creative challenges are being used as euphemisms for something they clearly don't want to say out loud. This project might already be circling the drain. And the elephant in the room, Rachel Zegler's involvement, is no longer being treated as a footnote. It's the headline. Again, let's talk numbers for a second. Snow White was supposed to be Zegler's major studio breakout, but instead of box office glory, Disney ended up with a $96 million shortfall and a global embarrassment. Now she's headlining a modest indie with a fraction of that budget, and yet, somehow, the stakes feel even higher. Because here, there's no Marvel safety net, no Disney nostalgia to hide behind, just a script, a small crew, and an audience that already has one foot out the door. And fans, they're watching closely. The backlash online isn't just mean tweets and meme threads, it's an organized resistance. Posts encouraging others to skip it on principle. Comment sections flooded with eye rolls and not agains. Every update about she gets it from me is met with more suspicion than excitement. This isn't the internet being fickle. This is what happens when trust gets shattered and the person responsible refuses to acknowledge the shards.
It sounds like you're one of the only ones there, just like Rachel Zegler, as it turns out, and we part with this video of Rachel Zegler alone in a theater watching herself. One of the most unlikable humans
That
ever.
is sadder than when the original Snow White eats the apple.
If Zegler's strategy is to barrel forward and hope people forget, it's not working. The internet doesn't forget. The fans don't forget. And right now, it seems like even the film's own team is starting to realize that no matter how much you dress it up, drama behind the camera always finds its way to the screen. By now, there's an undeniable question looming over the entire project. How much more turbulence can She Gets It From Me withstand before the cracks start showing in the final cut? Because let's be clear, what's happening behind the scenes isn't just inconvenient, it's potentially catastrophic. And the industry is watching like hawks, not to see if Zegler redeems herself, but to see if the production survives her. The latest whispers, yes, those again, suggest the working relationship between Zegler and the film's director, Julia von Heinz, has entered a particularly tense phase. While no one's spilling exact details, the word strained keeps cropping up. One crew member allegedly described the energy on set as thick enough to cut with a boom mic. Another likened the atmosphere to walking on eggshells, but the eggs are wired to explode. That's not creative friction, that's creative dysfunction. And when the director and star aren't in sync, especially on a low-budget character-driven film, the whole production can sink like a stone. Then there's the Tomei factor. Marisa Tomei was supposed to be the film's steady anchor, an Oscar-winning veteran lending gravity and credibility to an otherwise risky production. But even her name can only do so much if the film is being torn apart by power plays and attitude problems. There are unconfirmed reports, though rapidly gaining traction, that Tomei has quietly requested changes to her press obligations, allegedly citing schedule conflicts. Translation, she may already be distancing herself from the Zegler fallout before it explodes. And don't underestimate the domino effect. These behind-the-scenes breakdowns don't stay hidden for long. They bleed into editing rooms, press tours, and eventually, the film itself. Awkward chemistry, clunky scene pacing, a lack of emotional cohesion. Those aren't accidents, they're symptoms. And the more people hear about the chaos happening off camera, the more they'll look for it on camera. This was supposed to be Zegler's quiet comeback. Instead, it's rapidly becoming another case study in how not to rebuild a broken brand. You don't fix a tarnished image by barging onto a new set with the same entitled energy, and you definitely don't do it by turning what should be a passion project into a battleground of egos.
Feels like a zoo to get through baggage, but it's actually super empty here.
And just when you think it can't spiral any further, there's another twist. According to multiple insiders now stepping forward under condition of anonymity, the script itself is being reshaped mid-production, not because of artistic evolution or character insights, but because of Zegler's relentless demands. Apparently, she's pushing for key scenes to be restructured to reflect what one source described as a personal empowerment manifesto disguised as dialogue. That might fly in a big-budget fantasy where spectacle can distract, but in an indie film rooted in realism and vulnerability, it sticks out like a sore, over-rehearsed thumb. The director, Julia von Heinz, is reportedly exhausted by the tug of war. She signed on to make a grounded mother-daughter story, not a platform for someone's career rehabilitation tour. And sources close to production say she's increasingly having to referee between what the story needs and what Zegler wants. The balance is slipping, the artistic vision is fraying, and the tension is beginning to seep into the crew. Lighting setups are reportedly being stalled while scenes are rewritten on the fly. Mood boards are being tossed. Continuity concerns are becoming impossible to track. It's not a movie set anymore, it's a salvage operation. And what about Marisa Tomei? She's keeping quiet in public, as she always does. But behind the scenes, insiders say she's growing more detached. Not because of diva behavior, Tomei is notoriously grounded, but because it's hard to stay emotionally connected to a film that's shifting beneath your feet every day. Her subtle, method-rooted performance style doesn't mesh with chaos. And now that Zegler's alleged interference is affecting not just lines, but the emotional beats of the story, Tomei's patience may be reaching its limit. This isn't just a troubled production, it's a red flag parade. And while the studio may still be hoping it can ride this out and salvage something in the edit, the damage may already be done. The chemistry is broken, the creative vision is fractured, and Rachel Zegler once again has become the uncontrollable variable nobody knows how to manage. So now we've arrived at the final act. And the question isn't whether Rachel Zegler's latest project is in trouble, it's whether anyone still has the energy to pretend it isn't.
It's really not about the love story at all, which is really, really wonderful.
The cartoon was made 85 years ago.
Nobody wants a movie about true love?
She Gets It From Me was never meant to be a box office monster. It wasn't built for spectacle, franchises, or merchandise sales. It was supposed to be small, sincere, character-driven, a quiet comeback, a reset. But instead, it's become a case study in how not to handle a redemption arc. And Rachel Zegler, she's managed to turn a modest indie film into a ticking time bomb before it even wraps production. Let's be brutally honest here. Zegler hasn't evolved. She's doubled down. The same attitude that torched Snow White has shown up here. The same need to rewrite, to lecture, to center herself in every frame and every conversation. Only this time, she doesn't have Disney's billion-dollar PR machine to clean up the mess. No viral apology tour, no corporate distraction campaign. Just her baggage, and a smaller team walking on eggshells. And the cost of her presence? It's not just awkward press, it's production delays, script rewrites, and now, the specter of co-stars walking off set. Hollywood isn't known for learning its lessons fast, but it does learn. Studios are taking note. Industry chatter is shifting from cautious optimism to open skepticism. The murmurs that followed Snow White have grown into real questions behind closed doors. Is she worth the trouble? Can we trust her with press? Will she hijack the next script too? That's the conversation now. And Zegler's team can spin it however they like, but the writing is on the wall. Because here's the truth. Audiences want stars they can root for. They forgive mistakes, but not patterns. And Zegler hasn't just made a few missteps. She's danced her way through controversy after controversy like the spotlight is hers, no matter how many times the crowd boos. The vibe isn't young actress figuring it out. It's PR nightmare in progress. And even her defenders, those who once saw promise, are running out of ways to explain it. So, what happens if She Gets It From Me flops? It won't be just another disappointing credit on IMDb. It'll be the moment the industry officially gives up trying to fix the unfixable. And that doesn't just end a chapter, it closes the book. But what do you think? Can Rachel Zegler salvage her reputation? Or has the curtain already dropped on her Hollywood second act? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like and subscribe, and stay tuned. The next video on your screen is waiting, and trust me, you won't believe what's coming next.